Welcome to Coffee and Conversations for Men, a podcast where two men, Jay Guy
and Brian Jones,
sit down to share their stories of struggles, successes, and everything in between as they navigate the ups and downs of life.
Each episode will dive into topics men are curious about as it relates to their fitness, nutrition, relationships, mental health, and being a lifelong learner. If you're looking for real talk, honest discussions, and practical advice, you're in the right place.
So grab your coffee
Or your favorite drink.
and sit back and join us for some candid conversations that will inspire, motivate, and remind you that you are not alone on this journey. So let's get started.
Fellas, it's time to flip the script.
We've talked muscle, mindset, grief, fatherhood, and everything in between.
But now it's your turn. We're handing the mic over to you,
We're doing our first ever Q&A episode.
answering your real questions about the stuff most guys avoid talking about.
Struggling with identity, setting boundaries, dealing with rejection, burnout, or just feeling stuck.
No filters, no fluff, just raw, honest answers, man to man.
Drop your questions in our comments, DMs, or shoot them our way by email.
Let's go deeper. Let's get real. Let's have the conversations you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, this is Coffee and Conversations for Men, the Q&A edition.
All right, Jace. So what's in your cup for this episode?
Well, tonight's episode, I'm drinking, it's called Kopi Luwak Coffee.
Okay.
So-
Tell me about this.
This is, I really wanted your authentic reaction for this. So
okay.
these coffee beans are, there's a wild cat in Indonesia called the Luwak. It's like a large wild cat.
Okay.
And it's in the Indonesian forest.
Right.
So a coworker of my wife's brought this back from Australia for me.
Okay.
And it is, basically, it's like wild cat shit coffee. I'm not,
Are you freaking serious?
I'm not even kidding you. So,
This is what I'm drinking?
yes. So if you would be so kind in your very narrative
I
voice
don't know if I can do this.
to read the back of it for our listeners,
Okay.
because I want your reaction.
You know how to chant. Okay. You now have a chance of experiencing such an unusual and luxury as well as spectacular cup of coffee. This is 100% pure, the most expensive and rarest coffee in the world because of its limited supply. This is not a blend, but a pure gathered up from parts digested. Are you freaking serious?
I'm not even kidding you. It's literally wild cat shit coffee. It's been digested and shit out already.
Okay, this process will produce a very low acidic coffee, damn right, and distinctive aroma with bitterness levels slightly lower and very smooth and a taste to die for.
Oh yeah, it doesn't taste like shit at all.
No,
Not at all.
it's a medium roast.
And when they say it's very smooth, it really is very smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been eaten
Yeah.
once. Yeah.
Best before August 6, 2026. I guess so.
I
Cheers
Cheers.
to cat shit.
Yeah, to catch shit coffee.
I can't believe.
Oh
What would I
man.
think of
Honestly,
next?
in my brain, like when I first made this, I opened it up and I was like, oh my god, it smells. Open it and it smell it. Like I opened it up and my brain couldn't wrap its head around. It smells amazing,
That
right?
was amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And my brain was like, wait, what is going on here? It doesn't taste like shit at all.
Incredible.
It is incredible. Yeah, it's really wild.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
So is there a reason why your wife's friend thought of you when she got this coffee?
Oh, I never thought I had to even I hope not, but I like to say no. It just knows that I love coffee.
Yeah, I love coffee.
Yeah,
All kinds of coffee. All right.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're listening and you have an interesting coffee that you think we should taste,
Oh.
let us know.
Uh-huh.
Let us know.
Absolutely, please.
Send us the link.
Yeah,
Send
absolutely.
us some coffee.
Yeah, literally will try anything, including cat shit. All right, Brian. This is a different setting tonight.
Is it ever?
Yeah, it's kind of a different theme tonight. Instead of just saying, "Oh, what do you got for fitness?" or
Yeah,
"What do you got for
exactly.
nutrition?" What do
Exactly.
you have for this segment, Brian?
Well, we were surprised when we put the call out for questions to come in.
Mhm.
We had no idea what the response was going to be.
Yeah,
And then
correct.
they started to come.
Yeah.
And not only like, okay, we knew some would come from our buddies
That's
to
correct.
help us out, but then we started getting questions from all over the world.
Hmm.
Too many for this one episode.
I would agree.
So we've chunked them together. We're going to do a segment tonight
Hmm.
of maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 questions. And
Yeah,
then we will, and sometime in 2026, we'll do another Q&A and we'll add some more questions.
that sounds
Are
great.
you okay
Yeah,
with that?
definitely, definitely.
Great.
Yeah, I think
Then
if we try to squeeze them all in, I think
we're not going to do
somewhere along,
justice.
yeah,
No,
somewhere along
no,
the way,
not at
we'll do
all.
somebody a
Not at all.
disservice. Yeah,
Not at all. All right. Are you ready for the first question?
absolutely. Let's
This
do it.
first question comes from Mark from Australia.
Hmm.
And he asks, how do I balance being strong and being vulnerable at the same time?
Yeah, wow, that's a hard one. That
Well, Mark wants to know.
that's a hard one,
So
Mark.
I think it goes back to, okay, how do you decide what being strong, how is strong defined, and what is vulnerability
Yeah, because I think
too?
strength will look different in every relationship, and I think it takes real guts, real strength to be vulnerable.
Oh my
And when I
gosh.
say real strength, I don't mean like strong as in like I can lift a weight. I
Right.
mean strength, inner strength,
Yeah.
and inner control of who you are to to have real strength, emotional strength, to be vulnerable. And I think that when you, especially with family members and friends, when you are asking for help or you're telling your friends that you're struggling, it takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of trust that it's a safe room.
Hmm.
I think that's where it starts, is being able to trust that this is a safe room for me to say whatever I need to say and unload whatever I need to unload right now. And I think it starts there. And I feel like if you don't have that safe room, you
It's not going to happen.
yeah, no
You're
matter
gonna,
what.
and I think that that's selective vulnerability, where
Hmm.
you decide who
Hmm.
you share with, when you share information, and how you share it, and where
Yeah.
you share it, because those safe rooms aren't everywhere
Yeah, and
at
and
all.
I gotta say too, I did have a lot of safe rooms in my life, and I never opened up until everything started falling apart because
Oh,
because I didn't have that inner strength.
okay.
Because I didn't have that emotional strength. I didn't have that emotional surety of
Yeah,
like this is gonna be okay, no
yeah,
matter what,
yeah,
no matter the outcome.
yeah,
This is gonna be
yeah,
okay, and I didn't have that.
yeah,
So regardless of the room,
yeah,
regardless of the people that were
yeah.
supportive, I didn't have this strength in me
Right.
to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So,
But it's also interesting because I've seen the opposite happen.
mhm,
I've seen guys who have lots of strength to
mhm,
be vulnerable, but it's not a safe room.
yeah,
And they couldn't read the room
mhm,
and they shared,
yeah,
and they weren't ridiculed, but there was some uncomfortable, there was some gossip, there was some like real like there was some judgment, and that
mhm,
set the guy back even further
mhm,
because he thought it was a safe room and it
and it wasn't
wasn't.
received
It
well.
wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
Renee Brown in the book Daring Greatly,
mm,
and she argues that vulnerability is a form of courage.
mhm,
It's not weakness.
yeah, and because you're taking an emotional risk.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, and in that book, it says the same thing. You're taking an emotional risk, and the balance looks like learning and sharing what's going on internally. When you actually are able to express that externally to the
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
that's where the strength comes from.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. It's interesting. I shared with my brother some information
Mhm.
that he was unaware of, um, and it was safe
Mhm.
to share it.
Mhm.
I picked and choose what I shared, how I shared it, when
Mhm.
I shared it,
Yeah.
um, and he was grateful.
Mm.
There was this moment of empathy and compassion, and he gave me a big hug after I shared the information.
Mhm.
Um, and that took courage,
Yeah.
but there was a balance of being strong and
Mhm.
being vulnerable in
Yeah,
that.
and when you get to choose, so that's called selective vulnerability.
Okay.
So when you get to choose the setting,
Right.
and you get to choose
Yeah.
the topic of what
Yes.
you're going to share, and you're choosing who to share it with, that's selective
Yeah.
vulnerability. And that is totally healthy when at the beginning, when you're learning to discover
Yeah.
how to be and when to be vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
To test the ground.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this question, how do you know a room is safe?
That's a great question too. That's actually a really great question. I feel like it's trust. It comes down to trust.
Okay.
It really does come down to trust. So like we've both mentioned about learning to read the room,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's trusting that no matter what the topic is, no matter what you're going to say,
Right.
it will be received with grace and love and
Yeah.
compassion. That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
All right. This next question is from James from Manitoba, Canada. Why do men see dealing with anxiety, depression, burnout as weakness,
Mm.
especially when they're sharing information with other men?
That's another good question. Actually, that's a real good question that I think most of us can actually say, yeah, I've dealt with that,
Yeah.
on some
Yeah.
level or another. It's hard for most men when burnout happens, and oftentimes you can feel weak most of the time, like you can't handle the pressure. You know, I didn't succeed in that, or I failed in that because I couldn't handle the pressure. And then you feel weak inside and you feel like lesser than or not good enough and that brings on the anxiety, and that can put you into a depressive state. So like he was asking in why does depression lead to burnout and all that and that's why, because it's one big vicious circle. The anxiety of not performing properly leads to depression when you
Right.
don't, and then you're burning yourself out to try to keep up and to overachieve and to perform at some
But
sort of
where
level.
is that rooted from? Because for a guy to feel that,
Hmm.
that's got to come from their upbringing or
Oh God, yeah,
attachment theory
yeah.
or cultural expectations or what
People
the church
pleasing,
says.
yeah,
People pleasing, and we covered that in episode 4. That I mean, I default to people pleasing.
yeah,
That's a big crutch
right,
for me. That as soon as I get anxious or sensing that things are uncomfortable,
yeah.
I automatically go to people pleasing.
Yeah, well, you want to look stoic in front of your
I
peers.
know.
You want to look like you got it all together. Like I got my shit together. You know,
Yeah.
and you want to be trusted at work with responsibilities, and you want to be looked at as a leader and all that kind. You don't want to look like the guy who's
No.
buckling under pressure.
Well, but we're conditioned to think that's failure when that
Exactly.
happens,
Yeah,
and it doesn't
exactly.
mean it's not a normal experience of human
Right.
experience.
Yeah. And then exactly. And then when it's viewed a certain way, that just chips away at the
Oh,
confidence.
huge,
It really does. It
huge.
chips away at the confidence. And and it happens to everyone. Instead of regrouping and coming at it like from a leadership point of view, instead of regrouping and just looking, okay, where did we drop the ball? Where can we learn?
Hmm.
Where do we go from here?
Hmm.
No, it's viewed as it was a failure and I'm lesser than. I should never have been trusted with this responsibility. I clearly can't handle it. Yada, 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 yada,
Yeah,
yada,
yeah,
yada,
yeah, yeah.
yada. And now you're in
And
a
you start
tailspin.
spiraling.
And
Yeah,
now you're in
yeah,
a tailspin.
yeah.
Yeah. And then that leads to a vulnerable headspace where that's just never a healthy space to be.
No.
No. So, and honestly, there's a book called Man Enough by Justin Baldini, and he explains these expectations that lead men to treat emotional suffering and failure as failure rather than a normal part of the human experience of learning and growing.
Right.
And that goes back to the whole like, I'm going to look stoic in front of everybody, like I got it all together,
Yeah.
instead
And,
of.
and what's really ironic here
Mhm.
that guys are in this silent competition with each other about it is they won't open up.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, well, no one's opening up. That means it must be only me then.
Yeah.
If nobody's is admitting to what their failure is,
Yeah.
shit, this is just me. And that
Yeah.
just spirals my head.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy who I'm looking at is saying the same thing
Yeah.
that
but it's trying to look stoic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real vicious cycle. And that's the irony of it, right? Is that we're all sitting around the table feeling the same way, yet none of us are saying it
No.
at all.
Okay. So what do you do about it?
So at some point you have to break the pattern.
Yeah.
At some point you have to break the cycle, and at some point somebody has to have enough courage to say, okay, all right, that fuck up was me, I own that.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what I've learned. As the leader,
Yeah.
this is what we're
Yeah.
going to do, and this is how we
Yeah.
move forward, and this is how we fix my fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there has to be some sort of rally around me, because I had the strength to say,
Yeah.
I own that.
Yeah.
Like, I own that.
Yeah.
Instead of looking as a failure, now we get to congratulate me for saying, yeah, that was on me. And have the guts to say, yeah, that was on me, without putting me into a depressive tailspin.
Right.
And I think that takes a lot of guts to do. And I don't think we allow ourselves to do that with our peers. I really don't think we allow ourselves often enough to do that.
You know, there were times where I even said to somebody else, I said, I got a buddy who's dealing with this.
Mhm.
And I would describe it. Say, do you have any advice for me to give to him?
Yeah.
Knowing full well that there's nobody, it's me that's dealing with this shit.
This is one of those cases where it's like, oh, just quote unquote asking for a friend.
I ask on behalf of a friend.
I'll ask you for a friend.
You know what? If that got the conversation going, right?
Yeah.
So, well, you can tell him this and tell him that it happened to me and tell him that.
Yeah.
And say, oh yeah, good.
Yeah, and secretly you're like, oh, all right.
I want these ideas.
I'm trying to dig my way out of this.
Yeah.
Instead of there's got to be at some point. There's got to be a way for you to not view it as a failure, but as an opportunity to learn. Yeah.
That's it. Francois from Toronto, Canada asks, why do men have a very hard time connecting with their feelings and expressing them?
Okay, men. Here we go. As men, we often hear, he's always angry.
Or he doesn't talk.
Or he doesn't talk.
Say anything.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything.
There's no in between.
Yeah, he's either angry or he says nothing, which oftentimes that's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm not saying anything because I'm angry, because I don't know how to express myself either way.
Yeah.
So the only real expression, the default expression I know is anger. And I think there's a lot of us that can understand that, what I just said, that can relate to that can understand that anger is one of those default feelings or expressions that we have because we're not taught how to walk through other emotions. We have this anger that or this frustration that comes inside. I mean, how many times you're trying to put something together and it's just like, come on, fucking grumble as you're tightening it up, like swearing at it's going to make a difference, right? And, I mean, sometimes it does. It depends on where you bought your furniture, but I think that it's the default emotion that we all know and we all recognize, and I think that's the easiest emotion for men or for people to recognize in men is anger, because we express that purely. There's no mistake when we're angry. There's no mistaking it. Right. When we're frustrated, there's no mistaking it. We express it without hesitation. And I think too often, that it's misread. So we're frustrated, looks like anger. We are silent, looks like anger. We don't know how to express ourselves, looks like anger, or must be anger. He's not saying anything. He's quiet. He's distant, right?
Right.
Oh, he's just angry all the time. No, he doesn't know how to express himself. So unfortunately, that's what it looks like. And so CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, helped me understand my emotions and how to regulate them. And it takes a lot of work. It took a lot of work to be able to understand and to be able to sit. And that's the important word, to be able to sit inside of an emotion without shutting down or running away from it, right? To be able to sit inside of an emotion and to learn how to manage it effectively. And when I learned how to sit inside of my emotion and describe, it's not easy. And it was very frustrating at the beginning. And sometimes oftentimes at the beginning, it all led back to frustration and anger.
Really?
Because
See, that's not my experience.
because that was the one I was familiar with.
Yeah.
So when I couldn't express a certain what are you feeling? Okay, but
Yeah.
okay, but that's not an emotion. That's a situation. Tell me what you're feeling, and then I would describe blah 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 without describing the emotion. Nope, that's not the emotion. That's you're describing a setting. You're describing a trigger,
Mhm.
but you're not describing the emotion. So I had a hard time sitting in the emotion and understanding what it was to be able to put it into words. Otherwise, it just looked like anger.
You see, for me, it was just being numb.
Mm.
I wasn't expressing it, and it's like, are you disappointed? Are you angry? Are you happy? Like you're just neutral.
Mm.
And first when I went to the therapist, he says, "Brian, you don't know how to feel." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you're either happy or you're sad. There's no
Yeah.
in between for you."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, that's not true." And I says, "Well, tell me." We worked through this, and I realized that I wasn't. I had limited vocabulary in the
Yeah.
different emotions.
Yeah. Emotional
That right there,
vocabulary.
yeah.
Yeah.
Until I got an emotion wheel,
Yeah.
and
I
and
hated
I
it.
saw. Did you?
I hated it.
Well, I
The
mean,
feel wheel.
but
Oh my God. I
but did you know
hated
how
it.
many? Well, that's because you didn't know what these friggin' emotions were that
Yeah.
were on there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? What is
Yeah.
all these different words?
And my
I mean,
therapist would say, "Look, use your wheel." Yeah. I fucking hate the wheel. What are you talking about? Use the wheel. I'd like to throw the wheel like a frisbee.
See, I was criticized for being too touchy feely, too kumbaya,
Oh
or too,
man.
and because that was my default. Like I was a
Mm.
people pleaser,
Yeah.
and so when it came to connecting with their feelings and expressing them, I didn't have the vocabulary
Yeah,
at
I would
all.
like to say that too. I was emotionally inept when
Yeah,
it came to expressing
right.
something more than just "I'm sad," "I'm glad,"
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And figuring out where is that rooted?
Where
Right,
is it
yeah, yeah.
rooted? Yeah.
And that book by Lewis Howes, The Mask of Masculinity,
Hmm.
explains that boys are often praised for being tough, but rarely encouraged to identify or articulate emotions beyond anger.
Yeah, it
Um,
goes back to what we just said.
and we will see that young guys
Mhm.
are praised for being stoic and
Yeah,
tough
and
and
get
suck
back
up the
up.
tears
Yeah,
and you can
yeah,
do it. And
yeah,
um, but let's take a step back and teach them that there's more than one emotion.
yeah.
This next question is from João Carlos from Brazil. Why do you think men have difficulty talking about their feelings? So,
Mm.
very similar to Francois from Toronto's question, but how would you go about answering his question?
I think that kind of fits the last question. Kind of the same. Uh, never being able to sit in your feelings, never being told, never being taught how to sit in your feelings, or they just get over it, or walk it off, or any of the other stuff that you've ever heard. It creates this unsafe emotional environment for most inside, and so we're never able to really know how to express ourselves or know how to talk about our feelings because we really don't know really what they are.
Right.
Because if you have an unsafe emotional environment inside, you you really don't feel like it's safe to say outside. So we learn to just keep it to ourselves and not address it. And so instead, we have this group of adults now, and I mean, I'm almost 50 years old, and there's a lot of adults my age that are now just discovering therapy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We have this group of adults that are now just on this self-discovery journey at 50 years old. And instead of being taught at an early age what emotional intelligence looks like, you know, um, honestly, hopefully moving forward, I hope therapy becomes normalized, and parents are able to, my generation and my children's generation are able to through therapy are able to normalize therapy and are able to talk about it in a healthy way where they were able to teach their children how to express themselves and other than angry, sad,
Right,
mad, glad.
I think we all have the fix-it chromosome. We want to fix things,
Yeah.
but we don't want to sit in our feelings. I mean, if you ask, survey other people about, okay, well, what if men could describe what feelings would they have, and they would likely say, well, they have a reputation of being angry, horny, upset, funny, or satisfied.
Yeah.
And nowhere in between.
No.
That was the characteristics.
Yeah.
That they would
Or you
display.
hear, oh, he's happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What does
Right?
that mean?
That encompasses everything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that encompasses everything except for angry.
So we have this difficulty talking about feelings, and I
Yeah.
agree that as time goes on, I think as a younger generation that are more in tune and talk about their feelings and can sit around and ask each other. But certainly our generation, there's no way we keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like when you learn how to start talking about your feelings, it seems like it's the only thing that you're talking about at the moment. And
Yes.
to your group of friends,
Yeah.
it really does feel that way. And sometimes you're like, ugh, am I talking too much about my feelings, man? And it's not that you're talking too much about them. You've just discovered how to talk about them.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get it all. You're trying to get 50 years worth of not talking about them out.
I don't think the difficulty isn't the unwillingness.
Uh-huh.
I think it's more about not having a roadmap for emotional conversations or fearing consequences of what people are going to think if I missteps in describing how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, we're missing an emotional roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, you here's a conversation. Here's a typical conversation with most guys. Hey, bro, you good? Yeah, I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good.
How
Yeah.
are you? Good.
All right,
Yeah,
good talk.
Oh, good.
Good talk.
Good.
That's it. That's the extent of it. That's the extent of it because we don't really know how to talk beyond that.
Right.
You good? Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
How about you?
Fine.
Got all my limbs. Oh,
I'm good.
God.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good, bro. And I think because we've never been able to talk beyond that.
Yeah.
That we're all just good.
Right. This next question comes from New Zealand, from Anu, and he asks, how do I open up about what I'm going through without feeling like I'm burdening the people I care about? Wow.
Yeah. I think we can all feel like, I think we can all, like, if close our minds and go back to a moment where you're like, oof, I felt like a burden there. I can really relate to this one. I felt like I couldn't open up, even to my closest friends and family members, without feeling like I was burdening them with my problems. And I felt like, Brian, everyone has their own set of problems. Everybody's got enough of their own shit going on.
Yeah. Why do I want to layer that?
Yeah, I don't need to bother them with my stuff. And that's how I really felt. And that's exactly the mindset that kept me from being able to be comfortable with sharing the headspaces that I was in. And, keeping myself quiet and keeping myself, in the I'm fine headspace, and keeping people at an arm's length.
Yeah. The strategy that I use is, if I have something to share that's vulnerable, I said, you know what? I just need to talk this out loud. I'm not looking for an answer. I'm not looking for advice. I'm not looking for an opinion. I just want you to hear what I'm thinking, and just so I can hear myself work through this.
Yeah.
And they're open.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a safe way of wanting their advice without asking for their advice. Because then I'll say, you know what do you think? Am I overreacting? Should I try this? What?
It's also a great way to open the lines of communication.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a great way to open.
It's also, well, you're testing.
Yeah.
You're testing the safe ground to see, should I go further with this?
Yeah.
Depending on what they say.
Right. And yeah, so you're reading the room almost,
reading the
right?
room.
Yeah.
Defining it. Is this safe?
Yeah.
For me? And I think if you switch the table and said, if you had something to share with me, it's not a burden. Come on, I'll help you out here.
Yeah.
So obviously thinking it's a burden to
Yeah.
somebody else,
Yeah.
without knowing it is for not, you've already come to the conclusion that it is a burden.
Yeah. And when I finally opened up and got a chance to talk to my family and friends, it was freeing.
Yeah.
It was really freeing. And oh man, and it was completely the opposite of feeling like it was a burden. When my friend looked at me and was like, you're kidding me, right? You've been hanging on to this by yourself for this long, and you felt like I wouldn't either get it or understand it, or either maybe I wouldn't get it, but I wouldn't be okay with
Right.
listening.
Right.
It just kind of felt foolish to be like, oh, I guess I should have just talked to you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you don't feel like you can safely express yourself, how are you supposed to safely feel like you're going to be received?
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's probably the hardest part.
But we've already made up in our mind how
Yeah,
we're going to be received without even
correct.
testing the water,
Oh,
right?
100% you have. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that goes back to the mindfulness therapy, and the emotional regulation therapy that I had to do in order to be able to get to where I am now,
Hmm.
to where I'm able to start conversations, or I'm able to read the room
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah.
and that's just through
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can also say, do you have a minute? I'm just working through something and I want you to run
Hmm.
it by you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's a safe, neutral ground. And the person will say, I do. Or, you know what? Can we book a time? Because I,
Hmm.
I don't have, I can't give you my full attention right now, but I want to.
Yeah.
Well, what
Yeah.
about tomorrow at 4? Can we connect then or have a phone call,
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah. And I feel like with Zoom calls and FaceTimes and all that kind of stuff, it's so much easier to stay connected to your mates, and to be able to just send somebody a text saying, "Hey man, you have a chance to FaceTime me for a second? I just really want to
Yeah.
get something off my chest."
Yeah.
It, you're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
but if they're not in the headspace to accept that, then
That's
all
right.
they got to say is, "No, I don't have a
Not
chance."
right now.
Yeah,
Not
and
right now.
then
But can I get it later or not?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that takes the pressure off,
Yeah.
right? Where instead of just
Yeah. Yeah.
you run off, you just emotionally vomit it all over them,
Right.
and now they're like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
They don't know how to. They don't know how to
No.
perceive it, right?
No.
So yeah, I feel like learning how to open the question, um, takes the
And that's
takes
structured vulnerability right
yeah,
there.
yeah, it really takes the anxiety out of the whole scenario, right?
This next question comes from Ben from Ontario, Canada. What if I'm not where I thought I'd be right now? What if I'm not where I thought I would be right now?
Yeah, I feel like I've asked the same question.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
So basically, if we take this apart,
Hmm.
in our heads, we think we're further along than where we are,
Hmm. Or
and
should
so
be.
or we should be. So
Hmm.
we want to figure out, I'm not there yet. So what do I need to do? Because I'm beating myself up,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. So I think this can be looked at from a few different perspectives. One would be, did you set a timeline for yourself that you haven't met yet?
Yes.
You know, some people have whiteboards in their office
Yeah.
and they have sticky tabs all over it with
Hmm.
timelines on it. I'm going to achieve that,
Yeah.
this goal,
Yeah.
that goal. And,
And it's a
you
sticky
know,
tab, so it can be moved.
you got it, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not a
absolutely.
permanent marker.
That's right. Another perspective is, were the goals along the way, along that timeline, were those realistic goals? Were those small, achievable goals?
Mhm.
Or was it a humongous goal that just hasn't been set yet? And you're looking at as not as I'm not there yet, but as far as I should be there
Right.
by now.
Yeah.
And so I feel like looking at it through the lenses, or are you looking at somebody else's success and thinking that, yeah, well, I've put in just as much time, effort, and consistency, I
Mhm.
should be there too, and you're
Mhm.
not there yet.
Right.
Um, I feel like
But that gets into comparison.
Yeah, I feel like there's no real timeline when it comes to achieving things. They either happen organically or they don't.
Mhm.
And so when you put a timeline on something, it it's really tricky to stay within that goal.
Mhm.
It's really tricky to stay within that timeline. And there are we've seen entrepreneurs that set goals for themselves, and it happens faster than they think
Mhm.
they would have gotten there, right? They've
Mhm.
given themselves 9 months to
Mhm.
achieve X, Y, and Z, or to put
Mhm.
this catalog together or whatever, and it happens in 6.
Right.
So there are timelines that happen faster than you
Mhm.
expected. So there is that lens as well.
But also, instead of setting goals, if you set intentions,
Yeah.
then you're setting your skills that you need to put in place
Mhm.
to eventually lead to your accomplishments
Yeah,
that you want to
I
do.
would have to agree with you there, because it's about growth and not time, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would feel the same way, because I can't remember what episode it was. Geez, it was a bunch of episodes back now, but I had talked about I kept slipping up, right? I kept getting caught up on the same emotional slip up.
Right. I think it was episode 10, the turning failure into fuel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be. And I had mentioned in the episode, I felt like I should be further along
Yes,
in
you
my
did. Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah.
Should be further along in my emotional intelligence than I was,
Right.
because I keep having the same issue come
Right.
up, and the same argument come up, and I felt like I'm not as far along as I should be, because I've been doing it for X, Y, and Z amount of time.
Mhm.
And I'll have to circle back and say it again. It's about growth and not time.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I just didn't understand for a long time.
Mhm.
It's about growth and
Mhm.
not time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know what kind of goals Ben has set, or what kind of timeline he's working within. But Ben, it really comes down to growth, not time.
Right. And Ben, if you read the book by Mark Mason, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck,
Mhm.
he covers the whole piece around comparing yourself to an ideal version of your life,
Mhm.
and that creates unnecessary suffering. So if you focus on growth and not timelines,
Mhm.
you'll make a huge difference that's there. And any setbacks, you treat them as that's
Mhm.
feedback to feed forward.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, "Oh my God, I failed here," is
Mhm.
okay. What's happening, and what can I learn from this, and what do I need to do next?
Mhm. I like that, feedback instead of setbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
And yeah, I had to learn the same thing. I had to learn that I wasn't failing
hmm
because I was slipping up the same way. It wasn't a failure. It was feedback that I was
that's
getting,
right.
that I
What do I
wasn't
need to do
learning,
next? What do
because
I
I
need to do
wasn't
next?
learning.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't able to move forward in that
yeah,
emotion, or in that conversation, or that being triggered by the same thing, because I wasn't listening to the feedback.
right.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
question is from Chris from Ontario, Canada.
Mhm.
How do I practice better self-talk to suppress my inner demons?
Oh God.
Ooh. I would say, first of all, you got to identify what those inner demons are and acknowledge them and name them right up front.
Yeah, and that would go back to what I've talked about before, with my therapist, name it to tame it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wow.
If you acknowledge it, okay, the inner demon, and we're not saying run from them,
Nope, no.
demons, just acknowledge them,
Yep. Yeah.
pull them out, set
Yeah.
them on the table, and say, okay.
Yeah.
And I know for me, my inner demons are guilt, shame, and regret.
Mm,
So if I change the wording of this question to how do I practice better self talk to suppress guilt? How
mm,
do I practice better self talk to suppress shame?
mm.
How do I practice better self talk to suppress regret?
Right. Yeah.
What about you? If you name it, where's your inner demons? Because, buddy, you got them. Come
Oh
on,
God, do I
come
ever.
on. If you feel comfortable, I'm not going to pressure you to say them on the
On
podcast.
air.
But
I no, I can. So my inner demons, mine would be insecurity, feeling like you're enough, and failure.
okay,
When insecurities, when I let my insecurities out, they run a fucking muck.
okay,
When I start feeling like I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough, it takes me terrible headspace and it runs amok. Or
Okay.
failure. When
Okay.
I start feeling like a failure, it runs amok.
Okay, so we've named it to
Yep.
tame it.
Yep.
So now, how do we practice better self-talk?
So for myself, I can speak for myself. I had to learn how to, from CBT and DBT, which are cognitive behavior therapy. It's what those initials stand for, CBT, and DBT, dialectic behavior therapy. So dialectic, so changing the dialect of how you talk to yourself.
Right.
How do you talk to yourself? So you have to change the dialect. So if like I did, I had a lot of negative headspace. I had a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of
Right.
negative, so they call it chatter. And there's a book by Ethan Kross that called Chatter that explains what it is. And so chatter just means just chatter, talking in the background, negative thoughts, negative talking in the background, right, of your head. And that's what I mean by running amok. This chatter is constantly there,
And the chatter gets loud.
and it gets
Oh my
loud, and it
gosh,
gets,
is it ever?
yeah. And so changing the dialect, changing how you see yourself, changing how you talk to yourself, you're able to change that narrative in your head so that it's not a negative
Yeah.
background space. It's not a negative background noise.
For me, I'll use what's called a self-distanced technique,
Yeah.
where I'll speak in second or third person.
Mhm.
So I'll say, you know what, Brian, you've got
Yeah.
shame creeping into your head right now.
Yeah.
So where's that coming from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where is that rooted?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
Right? Or
Or
that's the insecurity talking.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So it's not me. I'm identifying it as another attribute that is creeping in. So I'm consciously aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, which gives you
And
control.
that's it.
Yeah.
And as long as I can control it, where it's coming from and what it means, I have better self-talk.
Yeah,
That's there.
and that's important
Yeah.
because once you're able to control the self-talk,
Yeah.
you're able to control the view, your self-view.
You're
You're
right.
able to control the view of yourself, which go hand in hand. Because if you have a poor self-view,
Yeah.
then the negative self-talk is real easy to do.
Yeah. And you start spiraling.
Oh God, yeah, easily. And so once you're able to, so CBT and DBT were a huge factor for me to how I saw myself and how I talked to myself. And through those therapy techniques, I was able to change that inner narrative.
Yeah.
And Chris said, and suppress those inner demons.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't mean ignore them.
I was just going to say the same
thing. It doesn't.
thing.
Because as soon as you ignore them, you're going down another path.
Yeah. And you can't, because you can't ignore them, and they won't let you ignore them.
No.
So you have to change the narrative of how you see yourself, because there's always this inner dialect. There's always this inner voice going, right? Everybody just calls them your inner thoughts.
Right.
And so they can be positive thoughts or they can be negative thoughts. And when they're negative, you have to change that. And so when you learn how to name these so-called demons, when you learn how to acknowledge them and name them, you're able to talk to them easier. You're able to communicate with them easier, and you're able to put them in check easier. And so through daily affirmation and through daily putting them in check daily, it's really easy to control it once you learn the techniques to do so.
Good.
Yeah. All right, Brian. This is question 8.
Yeah, and it's the last question we're going to cover for this bonus episode of Q&A with Jay and Brian. This is from Pat from Elora, Ontario, Canada. What questions can I ask my significant other to show my vulnerability with them? So, first of all, vulnerability, there's to make this emotional connection, there's got to be 3 things that need to happen: openness, safety, and genuine curiosity for that to happen.
Yeah.
And then vulnerability only grows through shared conversations.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, having said that, it's easier to say than do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because I'm going to sit back and learn from you, buddy.
Well,
because I'm struggling in this area too.
I hope not, because I'm literally just figuring it out as we go as well.
Okay.
And after many, many years of being married, learning how to communicate with my wife, learning how to I'm fucking learning how to listen is what I'm learning how to do. And I got a long way to go, but I've come a long way from listening for a break. Yeah, listening for a break to answer, or listening just to anticipate what I think she's gonna say, and then immediately as soon as there's a break in the conversation, I'm already yeah, but
Yeah.
and it's not a yeah, but do. It's I'm waiting for my turn to be heard again.
Yeah.
And
how's that working for you?
it wasn't. It wasn't. And I you know what? And it comes from a long way of feeling unheard and unseen. And that and I understand
Okay.
I understand why I did it for all those years.
Mhm.
I really do. I understand now why I did it, and it's because of feeling unseen and unheard. And so you feel like the moment you get a chance to say your piece or say your thing, you're jumping on the moment. There's a break in a conversation. It's my turn to go.
Mhm.
Regardless if it has anything to do with that whatever that person just said. It could have nothing to do. Could not even be related. And I have been in those conversations where the person finishes saying what they have to say, and my rebuttal has nothing to do with what they just said. And then they look at me going, "What the hell are you talking about? I didn't even say any of that." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Clearly, I wasn't listening
Right.
for what you were saying."
Right.
But I think this goes under the header of every couple is unique in the fact that we're all looking for something different. So in my relationship, in my conversations that I'm having with my wife and my family, they're not going to be the same conversations that you're going to have.
No.
We're at different timelines in our lives.
Mhm.
We're at different stages in our lives. So they're not going to be the same
Right.
conversations. So we have to look at this through a unique lens, right? If your partner is asking you to be emotionally more available, all right, well then that's
Then they're
then
asking.
they're asking.
Then
Then
do
there's
it.
no question there what they're
Right.
asking for.
Right.
So then you can start by saying, okay, well, is it okay if I share X, Y, and Z
Mm-hmm.
if that's what you're asking from me?
Mm-hmm.
If you're asking for me to be emotionally more available, then is it okay if I share this with you?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know right away if they're ready to be
Mm-hmm.
to hear that. So and that allows you to open up those lines of communication. And if they're going to be comfortable with you sharing with them, that you'll know it right away.
Right.
So when you realize there's two parts to a conversation, the giver and the taker or the receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a healthy rhythm to a conversation. So again, I'll circle back to if you're only listening for a break to only then express whatever's on your mind,
Right.
then that's not a conversation. You're just lecturing.
Yeah.
Or you're just driving your point home.
Yeah.
You're not in a conversation then. So if that's the conversations you're in, if you're constantly hearing, you're not listening. You're not
No.
listening. You're not listening. Then you're not having conversations. I can say that for a fact. And there's a great book. I suggested it in a few episodes back called Just Listen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the author's name. I'll have to go through the show notes to find it. But listening and really listening, not anticipating what the person's going to say, just so you can say something to be heard and seen. And
it's interesting. There's 5 questions. These are not Brian questions at
Okay.
all, because I learned from them. These are great questions. They're from the book "Hold Me Tight" by Dr. Sue Johnson.
Mhm.
And the 5 questions are to get what Pat's asking.
Mhm.
What's something you need to know from me emotionally that that I might not be giving?
Mhm.
Is there anything you're afraid to tell me that you wish you could?
Okay.
What helps you feel more connected to me?
Good one.
Here's something I'm struggling with. How does that make you feel?
Mhm.
And how can we support each other better when we're stressed or overwhelmed?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if any of those questions
Yeah.
resonate with you personally. But her book lays out perfectly on how to get deeper emotional intimacy with the person that is your significant other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like if your significant other is asking you to communicate with them,
Then go for it. Well, there you have it. 8 questions from 8 of our listeners from around the world. And we have no idea if we hit the mark on those answers or not.
no, absolutely not.
We just, we dug up some research. We
Mhm.
talked about our own experiences. If
Mhm.
any of our answers resonated with you, then try them out
Mm.
and see what you think. And if they didn't, if you thought we were full of shit, then you know what?
Then that's how it is.
That's how it is. because we are not
yeah.
psychologists, we're not social workers,
Nope.
we're not therapists, we don't have those qualifications at all. If any one of those questions, I mean, if it's causing you anxiety or severe depression, get the help that you need
Yeah.
with that question.
Yeah.
Because we're just pleased that you wrote them in, and we jot down our thoughts. Went back and forth, shared some stories, shared some research.
I feel like we must be thought provoking enough
for questions to come in.
Yeah, for questions to come in. But at the same time, I feel like if there are lines that you can draw parallels to that relate to certain questions that were asked, and I have a certain scenario that I've dealt with personally, and I have given suggestions or book title or some of my own therapy techniques that I've done, and you have not been exposed to therapy and or or have that tried that avenue yourself, therapy is a wonderful thing to explore. A men's group really allows you to be comfortable and to learn how to talk to other men. It gives you the confidence to learn how to talk about your feelings in a safe environment. So if you're not in a men's group and you don't know how to talk to other men, maybe explore that idea of finding a men's group, finding a therapist. All of these things are allowing you to explore within yourself in a safe environment that gives you a chance to talk to other people about your emotions and express yourself in a little deeper and vulnerable way.
It was really interesting. Out of our 8 questions, 4 of them had to deal with men's feelings from around the world.
Oh,
So
yeah, you're right.
mean, from Brazil to New Zealand, Australia, Canada.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So regardless of where you're living, the culture that you're living in, how you define masculinity, how you deal with feelings, it's universal.
Yeah, you're right about that. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. It seems to be the same theme no matter where you are.
And those are the ones that came in right away when we requested.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So clearly there's a theme here behind it for men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is learning how to talk.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming in. We got another whole slew of questions that we plan to put in a future podcast, and we'll do this again.
And honestly, if we've mentioned anything in these answers and you explore something, I would love to hear your feedback on certain things that have worked, that a book that's really resonated with you. Any sort of feedback positively like that, I would love to hear your feedback on that. So send those messages. Those are really great to receive. And that wraps up today's episode of Coffee and Conversations for Men.
Thanks for spending time with us. We truly appreciate it.
Be sure to check out the show notes for resources, links, and everything we've covered today.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this conversation, share it with a friend or leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Coffee and Conversations for Men. That's 4 as in the number 4. Got a topic you'd like us to explore? Reach out and let us know.
Just a quick reminder, we're not therapists, we're not counselors, we're not licensed professionals, just 2 longtime friends sharing real stories and lessons from our own lives.
So if you're facing challenges with your health, your mental well-being, or your relationships, we encourage you to seek guidance from qualified professionals.
We hope our conversation sparked reflection, encouraged growth, and helped you feel more connected.
Until next time, this is Jay
and Brian,
reminding you to grab your coffee
or your favorite drink
and keep the conversations going. Stay strong
stay curious.
and stay connected.